here. I had wanted it so bad at that point, and I kept wondering like what was wrong with me, why we hadn't debuted, because there was so much buzz. I was just ready for it.
What an opportunity tonight for Charlotte. She looks to become just the second woman to hold the NXT Women's title and WWE Divas title.
I didn't have that confidence as a performer to just go with the flow. It was just like, wow, Nikki Bella's such a star.
Nikki Bella, her record-setting reign as Divas champions at 301 days tonight.
I did not feel comfortable in my wrestling boots. It was like fake it till you make it. That's basically, what I was doing.
I'll tell you how important her brother is in her life. Every time she wins a match, she goes like this. She was pointing to the ring. I was so happy for her.
It was like I couldn't believe this is happening moment. Like I felt like many pieces missing. Like I didn't feel like the champion. They decided to put my dad as my manager.
Charlotte, the Divas champion, accompanied by her Hall of Fame father, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
He only knows how to be a showman. He only knows how to steal the show. I didn't. So I took it as, I'm either going to sink or I'm going to swim. I'm either going to use this as a platform or I'm going to fall behind in his shadow and just be Ric Flair's daughter. The pro was reconnecting with him because there was kind of a lull between high school and then. Our dynamic is super special.
I know she struggled with it a lot. For any WWE superstar, trying to find where your comfort level is and where you can excel the most is so difficult. So I can't imagine having to be Ric Flair's daughter. People are going to have high expectations of her.
I'll make you proud.
You always do.
You could tell Charlotte has much more of a concern with perfection and legacy than anybody else here. It's a huge shadow to grow up under, and she didn't just have to follow his act, but she had to follow his act and be a woman.
Tonight is the biggest WrestleMania in history. This is just a fraction of the nearly 100,000 members of the WWE Universe that are waiting to make their way inside to witness history.
When I pulled up and I saw the graphics on the stadium, I was like, ooh, the men look like the eye candy and we're front and center. I have goosebumps just thinking about it. This is what I've worked for every single day.
WrestleMania 32 was the most high-profile women's match at that point in time. The Divas Championship became the Women's Championship. Charlotte had enough time at that point that she was ready to take the reins and usher in this new era of performer.
WrestleMania 32 was a shift. When I walked out, I was like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
This is for the WWE Women's Championship.
I think we're seeing the greatest era of the women's division. These superstars digging deep into the playbook.
Charlotte where's she going? Charlotte, oh no, going up top.
Whoa! Moonsault by Charlotte! When she did that moonsault, everyone died. I never saw her do it. I told a girl, all growing up. She's better than I was. Man, she left me in the dirt long ago.
We got a new title, and we got a great champion in Charlotte.
That was like whatever the biggest thing in women's wrestling that had ever happened was like right here, and that was like right there.
For me, I felt like this was my brother's dream, but what's the Super Bowl of our company? And this is really the beginning. Like, this is where the hard work starts.
1, 2, 3.
The WWE Network was being launched in China, and I was sent to do an international tour. Here, so I was on my flight back from Hong Kong to Boston. I got a phone call from Talent Relations. Your dad's in the hospital, he's sick. We need to get you home as soon as possible. was so much going on that first 2 years. I'm trying to travel the world and become a superstar, and my dad's, having health issues. It's just a lot to deal with.
When someone's septic and then they go into organ failure, you really don't know. So there was a process where we can't fix the heart until we fix the kidney. Can't do the surgery until we get them whatever. And the surgeons came in and they said, there's probably about 15% chance he's going to make it through this.
When, the nurses were explaining to me, my sister, and my brother, that my dad might not make it, I could not mentally wrap my mind around that, there was a chance that he wouldn't make it. I just couldn't process that. They gave us all an opportunity to say goodbye to him, and I didn't even really say anything. I just wasn't gonna take goodbye as an answer. I compartmentalized by just throwing every ounce of energy I have into work.
All hail the Queen, gentlemen.
To go through something like that, it's very private, and nobody would even know that that was happening, and I can deal with it on my own and privately, but with her, the whole world knows.
Life is fragile, and that's why you have to make the moments count. So from here on out,
And there I go, I'm working again. I don't know, on to the next, right? It's just another bump in the road.
Natalia's championship is in danger.
Is this Charlotte's moment? Charlotte wins!
The Queen sits on the throne of SmackDown Live.
In her hometown, Charlotte.
all of you know that my dad, for the last couple months, has had a really hard time. I love you, Dad. This was for you tonight. Woo!
Proud father, victorious daughter. An emotional night in Flair country.
Charlotte in many ways is nothing like her dad. And in other ways, there are similarities. And if anyone knows anything about Ric Flair, they know that there was a time later in his career when he lost his confidence and needed to lean on people like Triple H to find himself. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Any critiques other than going fast?
No.
Charlotte's been very public about the fact that she struggles with her confidence.
Yes, sir.
Overthinking is the worst thing possible, and I think I overthink a lot. Just like today, I was getting ready for the shoot, and this guy walks over who owns the salon, and he's like, "You're Ric Flair's daughter." I get it every day, and I'm not jealous. I'm super proud, but I'm just like, dang. I still feel like I have to be a certain way because of the expectation that I'm Ric's daughter. And that was super hard.
Her resume speaks for itself, She's done things that Ric hasn't even done before. She's main evented WrestleMania. I hope she can see now that she is not her dad and she's completely different legacy than her dad.
I think Ashley's the only person in any conversation that doesn't realize just how great Charlotte is or can be. Charlotte can be
After myself, and there one day that all those little kids grow up, and that's my woo. They're not doing it because I'm Flair's daughter. They're doing it because I'm Charlotte Flair.
Once Charlotte got on top, she stayed on top. She ran that division.
Charlotte Flair called herself the Iron Woman of WWE. All the emotional trauma she's dealt with has made her stronger and more focused.
I've seen the difference of Charlotte, the character, from Ashley, the person. Charlotte is strictly business, and she's focused on being number one and focused on being superior. Where, Ashley doesn't hide things well. We've had moments where, I could tell something's bothering her, and, you just have one of those things where you have to talk to a friend, and it has nothing to do with wrestling. It has nothing to do with work.
When I quit volleyball in college, I had nothing to be passionate for. And I think that manifested in other ways. Like maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe body dysmorphia, but I was more hurting myself mentally than physically. I was 20 when I got my first breast augmentation because I thought, okay, if I had, a bigger chest, that would make me more beautiful. That really affected me. Online, I've gotten so much criticism over the years. Charlotte's built like a man. Charlotte looks like an iPhone. She has no ass. Constant every day. Why aren't we talking about my athletic ability? Why are we talking about my looks?
There was a few times backstage where she just continuously try on different outfits, and she's like, does this one make me look chunky? Does this one make me look like a man? I'm like, you're beautiful. What are you talking about? What are you seeing right now?
When you're still trying to figure out who you are, it affects who you think you are.
Ooh, no.
She's not just going to be judged on her wrestling ability. She's also going to be constantly judged on her looks. She's also going to be constantly judged on her looks.
I've learned that over a course of time, that your self-worth doesn't depend on what you look like. Being an athlete is cool. Being strong is cool. Lifting weights is cool.
Women come in all shapes and sizes, and it's so important for someone to be a face of a certain body type too. And Charlotte just has this beautiful, athletic, strong body. And you need someone like Charlotte to have a platform. It's so important.
So this is an actual copy of the body issue that came out in stores. This is my layout. Super proud of it.
When you do ESPN Body, this is you showing all of your vulnerabilities and all the things that you're most insecure about. I think she looked absolutely beautiful.
This was we want athletic bodies because they're beautiful. As an athlete, I want to be put in that category. I like these that show my backside because I knew the comments were coming, but anyone that's commenting can't do what I can do. And that's how I looked at it.
She was one that I gravitated towards because we are the bigger frame, big shoulders, we've got muscle. I think it's very important to show girls that that's feminine as well.
A woman being unapologetic, being dominant, being physical, being strong, being in control in a male-dominated world is what the most important message for me is right now. You look amazing, queen. Oh my God. I've always wanted that superhero in my real life, and for little girls, it's just having a role model. I had wanted it so bad at that point.
Figure four first. She's got a bridge though into the figure eight.
So from here on out, I'm gonna make
Almost it didn't happen. It wasn't real. My dad's Ric Flair. It never dawned on me that I would have the opportunity to mean something to his business. Where I am today, knowing that I've carved out my own history and paved the way with the women that I came up with, I could never imagine being a part of something that was like that.
When Ashley walks in a room, that's a star.
When she commits to something, she commits to it at a different kind of level, man.
She had to follow his act and be a woman.
I'm going to fall behind in his shadow and just be Ric Flair's daughter.
You would just be overthinking it constantly.
Why aren't we talking about my athletic ability? Why are we talking about my looks?
There was guilt for her.
She was paralyzed. They were like this.
I'm going to do this. I don't know how, but I will.
She's got an aura to her,
There can only be one queen.
I become the very best.
Her resume speaks for itself. She's a completely different legacy than her dad.
All hail the queen.
I want to go down as one of the greats, male or female. was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, April 5th, 1986. I'm the middle child. My oldest sibling is my sister Megan, then my big brother David, then my little brother Reed.
Reed is a freak. Reed, are you a freak? I'm freakazoid. Thank you.
Well, since Reed and I were so close in age, I guess you could say we were inseparable. Rollerblading through the neighborhood, riding our mountain bikes. We just did everything together.
We love you, darling. We love you. Hey, handsome.
So my dad is just dad to me, but to everyone else, he's Ric Flair.
I'm a kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, check flying, son of a gun.
I knew he was special and I knew he was famous growing up because everywhere we went in Charlotte, you know, everyone always wanted his autograph.
Driving the women wild.
But growing up, it was drink your milk, eat your vegetables, clean your plate. Like he was very much just dad. In kindergarten, it was show and tell day, and I brought my dad and his original gold belt. I remember just being so fascinated with the red rubies that were on the front of the title.
I was working, I took him with me. Like if I was working in Florida for the week, I'd stay in Disney World. So I wasn't on vacation, but at least I was with them for an hour in the morning.
Diamonds are forever, and so is Ric Flair.
Being around the business when I was young really meant like, oh, I get to go see my dad wrestle. Like I get to sit front row, I get to cheer for him. But I didn't think at that moment or when we were doing all those things that I was going to be in the business or that I wanted to be a wrestler.
She never expressed any interest in wrestling, ever. Neither one of us did. We just was like, well, it's kind of what dad does. It's cool. She got an early start in athletics and excelled even at a young age.
I did jazz, tap, and ballet. Come on, Ashley! And then I started at international gymnastics.
His birthday, Ashley Clark. Hey, Ashley!
The time has come for the Nature Boy Ric Flair to put his career on the line.
It was a retirement match for my dad between him and Shawn Michaels.
And there is Ric Flair's family right here at ringside.
That was like such an overwhelming, positive feeling. Like, look at this organization that he's a part of, and it seems like such a big, happy family.
You read lips? I'm sorry. I love you.
The emotion and the respect, the feeling of the audience and the passion.
Over 70,000 fans paying their respects to the greatest to ever lace a pair of boots.
And then seeing my dad emotional, I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is amazing. Like, I want to be a part of this. But like, in what capacity? I don't know.
What are your thoughts on becoming a diva?
It's definitely crossed my mind. I would like to finish school first, and I hope the opportunity is still there when I'm done. I think it would be fun if I said, Dad, I want to try to take on a role somewhere in WWE. I think he would support me and be my biggest fan.
I knew I had to graduate because that's what you do. You go to college and you graduate, right? And it's like, well, what do I do? I moved back home. I was working as a personal trainer for a couple years. And then we went to Miami for the Four Horsemen Hall of Fame induction. It was like, I think the first time that me, Reed, and my dad had like gone and done something in a really long time.
Ashley, one more time, baby. Stand up, Reed. Come on, buddy.
Reed's goal was to be in the WWE. We were at dinner at the hotel, and he was like, we can do this together. You've got to do this. So I was like, okay.
And then, oh God, please, no, Dad, I want to wrestle. I can do it. I know I can. That was it. And that was in April. In July, she was in Tampa.
Florida Championship Wrestling at that time was the developmental system for the WWE.
Everyone making decisions to agree.
Triple H and Vince McMahon had their eyes on the new up-and-coming star, so it was very important to make an impact there.
I I remember talking to Hunter on the phone. He was like, this life is difficult, Ashley. This life is very difficult. Like, you're on the road. Is this really something that you want to do? Like, this is a full-time job. And I'm like, yes, this is what I want to do. And I remember him being like, you're not going to get handouts because you're Ric Flair's kid. And I'm like, I'm not asking for handouts. I didn't say I wanted a handout. Why does this make me upset every time? I don't think anyone that was hiring me or heard that I was going was like, she's going to be a WWE superstar and follow in her dad's footsteps. Something in my life needs to change. And had I not taken that leap of faith, I wouldn't have gone. And that's just overwhelming to think about. That's why I don't even think about it. Okay. Whew. I remember getting to Tampa. I just remember telling one of the boys, my dad's Ric Flair, but please don't tell anybody, which everyone already knew. The entire building already had opinions of me before I even came. Everyone has tryouts and you meet each other and there's this whole independent scene and, well, here's Ric Flair's kid and she didn't have a tryout. I just was so worried about what everyone thought of me.
I was a little leery of having to work with a second generation performer because sometimes they can come in with preconceived notions of how things should be done here. But with her, it was zero ego.
She was so timid and just this sweet little angel. And like, I just felt like I just wanted to hug her and just like protect her.
John Cena right now is the kids ask for him more than they do Michael Jordan.
The athletic part of it, like, she got, and she thrived. Charlotte probably struggled most with promos and, you know, just her kind of insecurities about herself came through.
You can't beat someone who never gives up. My most redeeming qualities, yes, I know.
She would just be overthinking it constantly. Well, what do I do next week? Or should I try and partner up with someone to do something?
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
I stuck out like a sore thumb. But I do remember I was like, whatever you do, you're going to be fine athletically. And I did really well in this drill with the guys and girls. And Dusty pulled me aside and was like, you're going to be okay. And I just remember thinking like, okay. At the same time, Reed had been in and out of rehab.